beautiful friends, it's Amanda here. Today I'm talking about this palette. This is a collection of some of my ColourPop pressed single shadows. I mentioned this palette in my May favorites and so many people were asking to see a tutorial for the eye look I was wearing in that video and wanting to know more about which shades are actually in this palette. So I'm going to do a little video for you. I chose this collection of shades based on the Natasha Denona Gold palette. So these shades are inspired by that palette. This is not meant to be an exact dupe. I'm calling this my gold-ish palette. First of all, obviously there are 12 shades in here. The gold palette from Natasha Denona has 15 shades, and some of these colors or finishes are just a little bit different. So this is definitely inspired by and not meant to be an exact dupe. I do not own the real gold palette. I just cannot bring myself to spend $129 on a palette, but I have to admit the color scheme is really beautiful. It's definitely something that I'm interested in. I love the balance between the colors and the neutrals, and just the way everything works together is very pleasing to the eye. Since my ColourPop pressed single shadow collection is quite large, I thought that I could sort of get that same feeling by creating my own little build your own palette. Now the ColourPop pressed powder singles are priced at $4.50 US. The individual palettes are priced at $7. So if you bought 12 shadows plus a small palette, that would come out to $61, which is still much less than the real gold palette. However, ColourPop does so many BYOP sales. I don't know when the next one is going to be. Pretty frequently they do these sales where they discount a build your own palette, and the actual price will vary just depending on the sale. Sometimes they're like 30 to 50% off. So I absolutely recommend hanging on, waiting for a sale. The only problem is once those sales go on, some of the shades sell out really quickly. I pulled these shades from my collection just to best match the shades in the gold palette, so I don't know if some of these are out of stock. Sometimes when they go out of stock, they disappear altogether. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're discontinued, because ColourPop constantly stays bringing stuff back, but it is definitely my recommendation to wait for a sale. That way you can get a really good deal on one of these palettes. When it came to choosing the shades, I knew that I was going to just choose 12. So when I was eliminating shades that I wanted to, dupe or be inspired by in my gold-ish palette, I looked to the shades that I felt were the least integral to the color story. So the Natasha Denona Gold palette has a bunch of really beautiful browns and bronzes. They have two really dark browns, so I just chose one. There are quite a few warm bronzy shades. Between the browns and those bronzy shades, I was able to get the same feeling without those 3 extra shades. I want to show you a side-by-side here, the swatches from my gold-ish palette right next to some swatches of the actual gold palette. So you can see it's not exact matches, but it really is similar feeling. You're gonna get the same kind of looks. Overall, definitely not a dupe, but really the same feeling. That's what I was going for. How about I tell you the shades in my gold-ish palette now. On the top row we have Play by Play, Super Zoom, Now and Zen, and Running Late. On the middle row, Wishful Winking, Tiki, Two Birds, and Cloud 9. And on the bottom row, Boxer, Baby Lights, Sea Stars, and Kill Switch. So those are all the shades in my gold-ish palette. I'm gonna jump into a little tutorial now to show you how I got this eye look. This is definitely one of my favorite looks that I've created with this palette. So let's jump into that tutorial now. First up, I'm starting off by priming my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then I just put a little bit of setting powder on top so that it would be a nice smooth surface. Now I'm going in with my first transition shade. I'm using Running Late, and I'm just really building that up in the crease area. I am going to be doing a lot more blending on top of this, so I'm getting a good base here and then adding the shade Sea Stars on top, focusing that a little bit lower and more on the outer part of my lid. Now I'm going to add in some of the shimmers. I'm first taking the shade Boxer and I'm applying that with my finger all over most of my lid. I am going to be layering again, so just doing a little blending here, soften those edges. Then I'm using the shade Sea Stars along my lower lash line and the shade Now and Zen. I'm applying that with a small brush, again, not being too precise here, right around the inner corners. Now for some green, I'm taking Wishful Winking on the outer part of my lid and the shade Baby Lights on the inner part of my lid, and just using my fingers to blend those two shades together and get that nice hint of green shimmer. Then once again, going back in with Running Late and just blending everything, making sure that crease is nice and smooth and warm. Lastly, I'm taking the shade Boxer and I'm just putting a little bit of that on the outer part of my lower lash line. Then I curled my lashes, added some of this new Too Faced mascara, and that's the finished look. I love how this turned out. It's a little bit neutral, it's a little bit colorful, and it's really, really shiny. I've had so much fun playing with this little gold-ish palette, and I think this is my favorite look. I've been wearing it so much lately. I love this look. It's one of my favorite that I've gotten from this gold-ish palette, as I'm calling it. It's the perfect balance between a nice, comfy, cozy, warm neutral with a little hint of color. I like using these shimmery, greeny, gold type of colors because it really is a matter of just catching the light. From straight ahead, it looks a little bit more neutral, but when you catch the light and you really see those green tones coming through, it's just that little playful hint of color that I really, really love. I've really been enjoying. I would love to hear what you think about my goldish palette, my take on the Natasha Denona gold palette. Also, if you want to see more of these kind of videos where I do a build your own palette inspired by another palette, I would really enjoy that. This is so fun for me, just playing with all these different color combinations. Leave your suggestions in the comments below, and maybe I will make a BYOP based on what you want to see next. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Discount overall, definitely not a dupe, but oh my, I probably already said that in a tutorial. Okay, we know. Get on with it. What? Okay. Ma'am, did I wear a green shirt today because I was gonna wear a green eyeshadow? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. At least my nails don't match. How pretty is this nail color, by the way? I just painted my nails this morning. Anyway, it'll be listed in the description box because I don't remember the name of it right now. Brown's the brown blank. So mature. No matter how much I say, it's not a dupe, it's not a dupe, I'm sure that I'll get a comment that's like, this isn't a dupe because of... No, I know it's not. I'm aware. I am cool. You're not cool if you have to tell people that you're cool. Unless you're ColourPop, then you're cool. Cooler than me. Okay. Alright, and now is the portion of the video where I am just randomly talking to myself, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Okay, bye. You can save that. You can save that for the end, okay?